Hello everyone and welcome to my guide on how to complete the Shartuul's teleport event in WoW TBC Classic. Let's get into it. In order to do the event, you must first be attuned with the Ogrelaw faction as well as have an honored reputation with them. I have posted a link to an in-depth article shown here that explains all of the quests you need to get attuned. Just complete the whole quest chain underneath the Getting to Neutral header, and then complete the dailies until you are honored. After that, the Banished Demons quest/daily will open up to you from the NPC Kronk, shown here. Completing the quest will give you an entire Dark-Rune or Dark-Rune fragment. Combine 5 Dark-Rune fragments into an entire Dark-Rune, turn in the completed Dark-Rune to the NPC Gok, shown here, and he will give you a Crystal Forged Dark-Rune. This is what you need to start the event. A quick note before we start. You will want to either set up your key bindings beforehand or change them on the fly if you have an ability bar add-on such as Bartender, which is the one you will see me using in this video. Otherwise, you will be clicking all of your abilities. The abilities you use will be placed on your pet bar, so the default key bindings to use the abilities will be Control 1 through Control 0. If you change the default key bindings or want to set your own key bindings beforehand, just go to the key bindings option in the Options menu. Click on Action Bars, and scroll down to Pet Action Buttons. To start the event, go here on the map, target the Felguard Degrader, and use the Crystal Forged Dark-Rune on it. Once the cast is complete, you will take control over the demon and you will begin Phase 1 out of 3 of the event. For the first phase, you have 5 abilities. You have a Mortal Strike, that is your main damaging ability, an AoE Whirlwind attack, an AoE Fear, a charge that does AoE splash damage, and finally the Smash Shield ability. Each phase also has a special ability that requires a specific item to use it, but as you will see, they are not necessary to easily complete this event. I will not be talking about them since they cost gold and are unnecessary. To start the phase, you will want to immediately use a Smash Shield and keep using it on cooldown for the rest of the phase. This ability lowers the teleporter's shield health by 12.5% each throw. The only way to move on to the next phase is to lower the shield percentage down to 0 or 12.5% depending on how the first throw went. There is a bug in the game where most times after your first throw, it will not show a decrease in the shield's health, but the damage is still recorded, so it is just a visual bug. Just know that after 8 throws, you will do 100% damage and the shield will break. While you are waiting to get those 8 throws in, demons will attack you that will slowly ramp up over time. The demons spawn in the same place every time, so if you follow my positioning throughout this video, you will be fine. Place your character on the east side of the teleporter to line of sight the fireball casting imps that spawn on the west side. Mortal Strike all of the Fellhounds that spawn while you wait. Once the imps get in range, cast a charge on them to instantly kill them. If done correctly, you can time the charge to hit multiple imps and any other Fellhounds that are still alive at that time. Keep doing this until you have done 4 shield smash throws. After 4 throws or at 50% shield HP, the spawn time of the Fellhounds and imps will increase. Keep Mortal Striking the Fellhounds until there are around 4 more Fellhounds on you at the same time. At that point, use a Whirlwind to wipe them all out. Keep using the charges on the imps and you will be able to keep up and not fall behind with the adds. As you can see here, my Whirlwind ability was broken early. Sometimes this happens, but you can easily recover by charging a large group of enemies and then Mortal Striking whatever is left. From here, I'm going to let it play out a bit so you can all see how it is done correctly. After 8 throws, the shield will break, killing all other adds and the Doomguard Punisher will spawn. Just walk up to it and spam Mortal Strike until it uses Fell Flames. The flames hurt a good amount, so use your fear to interrupt it and charge immediately after. Keep this up until the Doomguard is below 10% HP. at which point he will heal back to 100% health and you will take over the Doomguard and all of his abilities, starting Phase 2. This is probably the hardest phase of the whole event. but it becomes trivial once you understand the rotation. Every mob pack is dealt with in relatively the same way, so once you get the rotation down, you will be fine. Once again, all of the mobs spawn in the exact same places. Follow the path I take in this video and you will be fine. Once you take over the Doomguard, you will have 5 new abilities. The first ability is the Punishing Blow, which is your main damaging ability. The important thing to know about this is that it does 3 times the damage if you used it on a stunned target. This is your main way of damaging enemies, so make sure to use it off cooldown and on as many stunned mobs as possible. The second ability is Fell Flames that does frontal AoE damage. Use this when there is a clump of mobs that you can hit all in front of you. Do not worry about maximizing this damage, focus more on stunning and hitting stun targets than doing damage with Fell Flames. This can be a nice damage increase, but it is not necessary to complete the event. Many people spend too much time trying to maximize their Fell Flames damage and lose because of it. Use it when it's up, or don't, doesn't really matter. Third is the Throw Axe ability. This is a ranged attack that stuns one enemy for a few seconds. This is your main way of stunning targets and is the best way to deal damage with the Punishing Blow. Take note that the Throw Axe ability has a minimum range distance, so you cannot use this ability in melee range. Whenever it is up, run out from your target for a few steps and use this to stun them. Fourth is the Consume Essence ability. This can only be casted on the Ganarg, on the underlings, and like the Throw Axe ability, can only be used from range. This has a slightly longer minimum distance than the Throw Axe ability, so it can be tricky to use. Use this on cooldown or whenever you need health. Fifth is the Super Jump ability. This makes you jump into the air and stun all enemies around the target for 8 seconds. This is the second way that you stun enemies to make use of the Punishing Blows. Use it on cooldown, and just like the Throw Axe and Consume Essence before it, it also has a minimum distance that it cannot be used. So now let's get back into it and talk about the rotation that I mentioned earlier. The rotation can be a little tricky at first due to needing a minimum range in order to cast 3 of the 5 abilities. You will want to start each mob pack with a Throw Axe from range. Then you will want to step in and hit that target with a Punishing Blow. Then you will want to take a few steps out and use a Super Jump. By this time, all of the other mobs that spawned with that group will have grouped up and you will be able to hit all of them with a huge stun. Follow that up with as many Punishing Blows as you can. Once the stun from Punishing Blows is about to end, run back to range and use a Throw Axe. Rinse and repeat using Throw Axe and Super Jumps on cooldown and getting in as many Punishing Blows as you can while they are stunned. Use Fell Flames whenever convenient and Consume Essence for damage or health. The only mobs that spawn this phase are Underlings and Tormentors. When the Tormentors spawn, they do the most damage and get buffed by the Underlings, so kill them first. The Underlings can use an ability that makes the Tormentors immune to all damage and looks like a red shield around them. If that happens, you will need to hit the Underlings to stop the cast and make the Tormentor vulnerable again. The Underlings will also try to run out of the group and try to build a cannon. Stun them to stop them from finishing the cast. If a cannon does spawn, it does a good amount of damage, so try to kill it fast. Ideally, you keep everything stunned long enough with Super Jumps and Throw Axes that no cannons or red immune bubbles are ever casted. Once all of the mobs are dead, the Shivan Assassin will spawn along with 1 to 2 Underlings. Start out by Throw Axing the Assassin and get a Punishing Blow off to wait for the Underlings to get in range. Once in range, take a step back and use the Super Jump to stun all targets. From here, focus down the Underlings with Punishing Blows, Consume Essence, and Fell Flames. Alternatively, you can keep the Underlings alive to try to siphon life off of with Consume Essence. However, you will have to worry about them building cannons the whole time you are fighting the assassin, so I suggest just killing them early. Then, to finish off the assassin, just keep the regular rotation going of Throw Axes, Super Jumps, and Punishing Blows. You will want to interrupt as many casts as possible since the assassin does some decent damage and can heal herself. Once the assassin is down to 10% HP, once again she will heal to full and you will take over her body starting the last phase. The assassin has 3 aspects, each with 3 abilities in them. First is the Shadow aspect, which is used for AoE and healing. She has a Death Blast that does 12k damage, and most importantly has the ability to consume a Siphon Life debuff on the target and heal the assassin for around 25% HP. This is your main way to sustain throughout the phase. Next is the Siphon Life, which puts a 1 minute debuff on the target, which heals you for around 2k HP every time it ticks. Always keep this up on the boss you are facing. Siphon Life has a 30-second cooldown. Next is Shadow Nova, which is an AoE explosion, which puts a debuff on the target that heals you. The second aspect is Fire, which you will be spending most of your time in. The Fire aspect increases your base movement speed by 30%. The first ability is a 3-second Pyroblast, which is your main damaging spell. Next is a Flame Buffet, which does some fire damage and puts a 1 minute cooldown on the boss that increases fire damage taken, stacking up to 10 times. It has a 10-second cooldown, and you should use this ability whenever it is up. Finally, there is a Cleansing Flame ability that removes all debuffs. I will explain when you use this later. The third aspect is Ice. You will only use this aspect when specific abilities call for it, and it also decreases your movement speed by 30%. She has an Ice Blast that does more damage if the target is frozen. Next is a Frost Nova that roots targets in place and also flings the assassin backwards about 30 yards. Finally, there is an Ice Block that reflects all damage back to the caster. Make sure that you are in melee range whenever you use this ability so that the enemy does not move. I always suggest to get in melee range every time you use it. This phase consists of 3 different bosses. The first is the Eye of Shartuul. You will want to start every boss phase in the aspect of Shadow. Once the boss spawns, hit it with a Siphon Life and a Shadow Nova to apply the debuffs and then switch to Fire. Start kiting in a big circle around the teleporter, making sure not to let the boss hit you with melee swings. If the boss does hit you with a melee, it is a chance to put a debuff on you that does decent damage. Use Cleansing Flame to remove the debuff. Keep spamming Flame Buffets and Pyroblasts into the target while dodging the Disruption Ray zones that it places on the ground. If you stand in a Disruption Ray, you will be stunned for a few seconds. If you get low on health, switch to Shadow Aspect and cast a Death Blast to consume the Siphon Life debuff and heal yourself. Reapply Siphon Life whenever it is not on the boss. The boss also casts Dark Glare. It is about an 8-second cast that will do a ton of damage to you if it lands. When you see it cast, switch to the aspect of Ice and Ice Block right before the cast is about to finish. This will stop you from taking damage as well as reflect that damage back to the boss. Keep doing damage in Fire form, staying topped off in Shadow form, and Ice Block the Dark Glares, and this boss will be dead. The next boss that will spawn is Dreadmaw. He is very slow and can be easily kited around, but his melees do decent damage, so make sure not to get hit. He will have a stacking buff that will slowly make him grow larger and do more damage. The strategy for this boss is mostly the same. Start in Shadow Aspect, get the Siphon Life debuff on him at all times. Switch to Fire and start stacking the Flame Buffet and spamming Pyroblast. Sometimes, Dreadmaw will charge you and will put a nasty debuff on you that slows you and deals ticking damage. Use Cleansing Flames to remove the debuff. Keep your distance and he will die. Once Dreadmaw is dealt with, we can finally fight Shartuul himself. He has a couple of abilities that you need to know. First, you will see him shoot a fell fireball into the air that will explode and summon tentacles all over the arena. When the tentacles spawn, make sure you are in the aspect of shadow and move to a corner of the arena. Use a Shadow Nova and it will clear a spot that you can fight the boss. He will resummon these around every minute or so, but sometimes he will do it sooner. Just look out for the fireball he shoots into the air to know when they will be coming. The strategy to beat this boss is once again the same as the other bosses. Most of your damage will come from fire, your healing / AoE will come from shadow, and there is a specific ability that you will need to ice block. The boss also has a magnetic pull ability that will pull you within melee range of him. Make sure to move out quick whenever he does this because his melees hurt and it is a lot easier to keep him in one spot the whole fight, or else you will constantly have to clear more and more tentacles out of the way. Shartuul will periodically put a shadow vulnerability debuff on you as well as cast Immolate. Use Cleansing Flame to remove these whenever you can. Finally, the boss will cast Incinerate, which works much like the Dark Glare ability from the first boss. It is around an 8-second cast and will do tons of damage if it hits. Switch to Ice Aspect and Ice Block it. The boss will only ever cast this immediately after an Immolate, so make sure to watch out for it once an Immolate is casted. If Incinerate is not the next spell he casts after Immolate, then he will not cast it and you are free to keep damaging him. One special note. Every time you switch between the aspects, there is a 10-second cooldown before you can switch to another one. If, for example, you just switch to fire and Shartuul starts to cast an Incinerate, you will have no way to ice block the Incinerate and will take massive damage. On top of that, the bosses have a chance to resist any spell. It is possible for any boss to resist your Siphon Life. If that happens, you will have to wait 30 seconds before your next Siphon Life. This can be scary, especially if you are not keeping track of your health. If you start to run low on health, make sure that you are consuming your Siphon Life debuff on the boss with Death Blast and then re-upping your Siphon Life on cooldown until you are back at full health. This boss takes a while to bring down since he has just over 6 million health. Focus on clearing the tentacles, keeping your HP up with Siphon Lifes, and ice blocking the Incinerates and the boss will fall. Once dead, don't forget to loot the boss for your depleted item. A list of all the depleted items is available at the same link posted below that showed the attune process. Shown in the Other Rewards category, the items you are looking for are the depleted badge and depleted cloth bracers. Both of these are very good items even in Phase 2 and beyond, and normally sell for a good amount on the auction house. Well, that is it for this guide. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions about how to complete this event. Good luck out there, everyone!